Welcome to the Ad Expert Podcast. Today, we are taking a deep dive into, well, one of the biggest challenges facing modern marketing teams, I think, proving true ROI. Our focus today is specifically on how to choose the right marketing attribution model. Really, our mission is to try and solve that mystery, which marketing efforts actually drive conversions, helping you move from just gut instinct to a statistically validated strategy.
Absolutely. And this is so critical right now. I mean, if your attribution is unreliable, you're not just potentially wasting budget. You're likely making optimization decisions based on, frankly, faulty data. So the goal of this deep dive today is clarity. We want to provide the clarity you need to refine spending, accurately credit your channels, and ultimately dramatically improve effectiveness.
Okay, let's get into our source. We're drawing our insights today from Ad Expert. They're a Los Angeles-based online marketing and web development agency. And they've been operating in, let's face it, one of the world's most competitive local markets for over a decade, which means, they face immense pressure to deliver results that are measurable and repeatable. Success has to be proven.
Right. And that pressure, I think, is exactly why their methodology is so rigorous. They offer a really full digital service suite. We're talking everything from Google Ads Management, advanced SEO, local SEO, to social media strategies, web development.
A whole gamut.
Pretty much. WordPress, Shopify development. But their real differentiator, I'd say, is the analytical muscle they bring.
Yeah, it's not just about running reports, is it?
Yeah.
We see them using innovative AI solutions, specifically for things like customer targeting and advanced real-time analytics.
Precisely. And their commitment to live tracking and reporting. That means they can analyze the entire customer journey pretty much in real time. Across social, email, paid ads, all of it. They really have to move beyond those traditional vanity metrics, especially in a market like LA. It's so segmented, so competitive. It demands attribution models that reflect, true multi-step customer behavior. Their authority really stems from that constant need to prove ROI in a high-stakes environment.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Why attribution actually matters. In a world of maybe quick conversions, why can't we just trust the last click? I mean, that's what most platforms report by default, isn't it?
That's the assumption. Yeah. And it's a dangerous one that, frankly, most marketing teams rely on, or at least start with. The final step. It rarely tells the whole story, especially for anything complex or high-value sales cycles. And think about it, the modern buyer might see, say, a top-of-funnel social ad. They maybe read a blog post they found via organic search. Then maybe they open a targeted email 2 weeks later. And then they finally convert through a search ad. If you only rely on that last step, the search ad, you're completely ignoring the 3 actions that actually qualified and nurtured that lead into a customer.
Right. So robust attribution is really about identifying the whole sequence, the sequence of levers we pulled that led to the result. So what are the tangible benefits of getting this right?
Oh, they're substantial, really substantial. First, you gain the ability to accurately analyze the entire customer journey, not just the endpoint. Second, this kind of empirical proof, it allows you to allocate budget confidently to the high-performing channels that initiate or sustain interest, not just the ones that happen to close the deal.
And crucially, it gives teams that statistical justification they need, right? To prioritize channels, specific content types, all based on measured ROI. It allows you, hopefully, to move away from maybe internal squabbling about channel value and just rely on the data, show what truly moves users forward in the funnel.
Exactly. Data-driven decisions, not just opinions.
Okay, so given that every business probably has a different customer journey, there isn't like one single universal answer for the model. Let's dive into the 6 main types of attribution models that the Ad Expert analysis outlines. We'll start simple and kind of move up to the more sophisticated ones.
Right. Let's start with single-touch attribution. This is the easiest, but honestly the least accurate. It assigns 100% credit to either the very first interaction.
Good for awareness campaigns, maybe?
Potentially, yeah. Or the very last interaction, which might be okay for very short direct sales. But the key thing is, it's easy to implement, but it's fundamentally blind to everything that happens in between. The middle journey just disappears.
Okay, then we have the lineal attribution model. The concept seems intuitively fair, like spreading the credit around. But for a high-value purchase or maybe a really long funnel, doesn't it fundamentally risk misallocating budget? Giving like a casual social media scroll the same weight as the final high-intent conversion click?
It absolutely does. That's the major drawback. While it distributes credit evenly across all touchpoints, it risks severely undervaluing those highly impactful moments, like, the very first ad that introduced your brand, or that final click that sealed the deal. It's only really useful if you genuinely believe every single step contributes equally, which, let's be honest, rarely reflects reality.
Okay. Next up, let's look at the time-sensitive model, time decay attribution.
Right. This one acknowledges that recency matters.
Yep.
It operates on the principle that interactions closer to the conversion point are more influential. So it gives increasing credit to touch points that happen closer to the actual sale. This is really well suited for B2B or maybe other businesses with long, complex sales cycles, where recent engagement probably holds more sway than something that happened 6 months ago.
Makes sense. And then there's the popular middle ground, position-based, or sometimes called U-shaped attribution.
Yeah, this one's often the first multi-touch choice for many organizations because it tries to balance the key moments. It assigns a significant chunk, typically 40% of the credit, to the first touch point, acknowledging the start of the journey, getting the lead in, and then another 40% goes to the last touch point, recognizing that final decision-making step. The remaining 20% is then just spread evenly across all the middle steps. Kind of a compromise.
Okay, now we're getting into the truly customized and more advanced territory.
Exactly. So next are shaped attribution models. These are entirely customized. They're manually designed, manually weighted models, built to fit really unique customer journeys and maybe specific internal strategic priorities. These require a specialized analytics team, usually. Someone has to set the weightings based on, hopefully, empirical observation of user behavior rather than just a fixed formula like the U-shaped one.
Right, requires more expertise. And finally, the one often called the gold standard, especially for anyone using platforms like Google Analytics 4, data-driven attribution, DDA.
This is where advanced statistical modeling really comes into play. DDA uses AI and machine learning to statistically determine the true impact of each channel. It doesn't rely on preset rules like, 40-40-20. Instead, it uses complex concepts like Shapley values or counterfactual analysis. Basically, it tries to understand, okay, if this specific touch point hadn't happened, what was the statistical probability of conversion? And then it assigns credit fractionally based on that calculated causal impact. Now, this requires significant data volume. You need enough conversions and touch points for the algorithms to work, and you need tools like GA4 that can actually run these models. But if you have the data and the tools, it provides the most accurate, statistically validated reflection of what's actually driving results.
Okay, here's where strategy really meets the data, isn't it? Now that we know the models, these 6 options, how do we take those and select the single best fit for a specific business, especially knowing that data-driven model requires so much technical overhead or data volume? What are the critical factors to consider?
You absolutely have to start with the non-negotiables of your own business context. First, define your business goals. Is it pure brand awareness, lead generation, direct sales? If you're purely focused on, say, high volume direct sales with really short cycles, maybe last click is tolerable. But if your goal is long-term lead nurturing, you definitely need something more sophisticated like DDA or perhaps time decay.
And as we touched on, that cycle length seems paramount.
Absolutely critical. Sales cycle length dictates the complexity. A 48-hour purchase decision is vastly different from a 6-month B2B negotiation process. Next, you need to consider campaign complexity. If your customers are interacting with content, social media, search ads, email marketing, multiple channels, then you must use a multi-touch model. It's just essential. If you only use one channel, fine, simplicity might work, but that's rare today.
And critically, we have to be realistic about our own capacity, right?
Yeah.
What data do we actually have?
That's data availability. Exactly. Sophisticated models like DDA demand advanced tracking systems, full funnel visibility. If your data is siloed across different platforms, or it's incomplete, or you can't track users consistently, well, DDA is probably out of reach for now. And finally, don't underestimate internal buy-in. The model you choose dictates how you report success and failure. If key stakeholders don't trust or understand, say, the U-shaped weighting you've chosen, they won't align their strategies accordingly. You need everyone on board.
Okay, let's try to illustrate the financial impact. Let's use that multi-channel scenario from the sources. A customer journey goes Facebook ad, then an email, then they attend a webinar about, and finally make a purchase via a search ad. Now, if this conversion is worth, say, $1,000, how does getting the attribution wrong actually hurt us?
All right, great example. So if you use the simple last click model, the entire $1,000 credit goes only to the search ad. Now, if you look at that report and decide to double down on search ads next quarter based purely on that data, you might actually see diminishing returns. Why? Because maybe you cut budget from the top-of-funnel Facebook ad, which was actually crucial for generating the initial lead that the search ad later converted. You killed the source.
Ah, I see. Conversely, a linear model would give $250 to each of those 4 steps, which seems fairer, maybe. But it still suggests that the simple email open was just as impactful financially as the final high-intent search click, which feels off.
Exactly. It feels off because it likely is off. But compare that to the data-driven model. It would analyze perhaps thousands of users, those who saw the Facebook ad but didn't convert, compared to those who did and went through the whole funnel. It might statistically prove that, in this specific journey, the Facebook ad was actually the highest leverage point for starting valuable journeys. It might assign, say, 55% of the credit there, $550, maybe only 30%, $300, to the final search ad and split the rest. This demonstrates where you truly need to invest your money to initiate and nurture that pipeline effectively, not just close it.
That kind of statistical insight is potentially transformative, I can see that. But implementation sounds tricky. What are the common mistakes, the pitfalls, that marketing teams should immediately watch out for when they start trying to implement better attribution?
Yeah, there are definitely traps. The primary pitfall, I'd say, is choosing the model of convenience, not the model of reality. Just because last click is easy doesn't mean it's right. If you have a complex journey, forcing a single-touch model onto it will actively mislead your optimization efforts. You'll be optimizing for the wrong things. Another frequent mistake is believing this is a one-time setup, like, okay, we chose U-shaped, we're done. No, you have to constantly review and potentially update the model as your business evolves, as customer behavior changes, as your marketing mix shifts. And what about data that exists outside the nice, neat digital ecosystem? Phone calls, maybe? That's a huge blind spot for many. Ignoring crucial offline or untracked data like phone calls driven by campaigns, maybe specific trade show interactions, or in-store visits influenced by online ads. It creates massive holes in your funnel visibility. Your model is only as good as the data you feed it. And finally, maybe a practical one. Avoid running too many conflicting models simultaneously across different reports or teams. Consistency is really key for clear reporting and getting everyone aligned.
Okay, luckily, we're not entirely alone in this. We have platforms that can help manage this complexity. Which tools are sort of essential for marketers who are starting this process or looking to improve it?
Yeah, thankfully there's tooling. For managing, tracking, and analyzing attribution, certain platforms are pretty indispensable. Google Analytics 4 is foundational for many, especially because it offers powerful, platform-integrated, data-driven options, often at no extra cost if you're already using Google products. HubSpot is generally excellent for tracking those multi-channel, inbound heavy funnels, connecting marketing activities to CRM data. For large enterprises, maybe with very complex customized requirements, Adobe Analytics is often the go-to choice. It's powerful but comes with a steeper learning curve and cost. And then there are specialized tools focusing purely on attribution, like Ruler Analytics, Triple Whale, perhaps more for e-commerce, and Dream Data, often strong in B2B. These provide deeper, sometimes proprietary views of the customer path.
Lots of options there, depending on need and budget.
Definitely. So to kind of summarize where we've landed, selecting the right attribution model, the best fit for your business, it's arguably the single best way to maximize marketing ROI. Why? Because it allows your teams to statistically prove which campaigns truly convert or at least contribute significantly. It moves the focus from just that last click to the entire customer journey. And that allows you to refine messaging and, crucially, budget allocation across every critical touch point.
And the ad expert analysis really stresses that the real experts, the ones getting results, they never stop testing. This isn't a set it and forget it kind of tool.
Yeah.
You have to regularly conduct A/B testing, not just on creatives, but maybe on channel mix, and diligently align your tracking parameters across all campaigns, UTM codes, offline tracking, everything, to ensure that data feeding the model is actually accurate. Fidelity is key.
Absolutely. And that actually leads perfectly into our final provocative thought for you, the listener. Since the effectiveness of even the right model hinges entirely on having accurate tracking parameters feeding it, how often should we be reviewing not just the model's output, the reports, but the fundamental tracking mechanisms themselves? The tags firing on the website, the UTM parameters being used consistently, the cookie consent mechanisms, the server-side integrations. How often are we checking to ensure those vital data inputs haven't been quietly invalidated by a recent website update, a platform change, or even just an internal process drift? That ongoing diligence, that auditing of the inputs, not just the outputs. Maybe that's the true measure of analytic oversight in today's world.